For me, Digimon World 3 is a truly wonderful game. There is a strange yet beautiful world in here, waiting to be explored. So many places to see, so many Digimon to unlock and train. Simply put, there is a lot of fun to be had here. Even fans of card games will not be disappointed, as there is an amazing and addictive minigame in here that'll keep you entertained for hours. And as is often the case with old games, there are a couple of secrets and mysteries here as well. In this game, they usually have something to do with the card game, or with some rather mundane items that you can easily skip. So if you only care about completing the main game, you can safely ignore the rabbit holes that these mysteries offer, as they are not that important. With one exception. After certain boss fights, you will be rewarded with old or rusty weapons. On the face of it, they look rather uninteresting and bland. In terms of power and value, even the basic early game weapons can outdo them. And yet, they are treated with great significance. The game won't even allow you to sell them. Some NPCs would even make some strange yet vague comments about them, suggesting that there is more to these weapons than what meets the eye. In the north sector, we can find the Guilmon mine. Within it, there is a metal Etimon who calls himself a genius weaponsmith. It appears that he has something to do with this. But what? The game does not really offer any clear, distinct directions about what you need to do, but that is how old games used to be. They did not hold your hand. If you wanted to uncover their secrets, you had to learn to dig deeper on your own. So today, in order to unravel the mystery surrounding these old and rusty weapons, I guess that is what we'll have to do. Okay, so where do we even find these ancient weapons? Acquiring the very first one actually happens as part of the main storyline, quite early on in fact. Near the beginning of the game, we have to find and defeat the Seiryu city leader. After we track him down in the protocol ruins, he tells us that he won't fight until we beat Master Tyrannomon, who resides in Tyranno Valley. After we beat Master Tyrannomon, he gives us the Old Claw. Once we show this Old Claw to the Seiryu leader, he'll be happy to take us on. The second ancient weapon can also be found in the protocol ruins. You'll have to beat the optional boss Pheromon, who'll give you the Old Wand as a reward. To be clear, you could get the Old Wand first if you wanted to, by fighting Pheromon before Master Tyrannomon. The order in which you get the ancient weapons does not matter. For now. In any case, we can see that Digimon World 3 definitely intended for players to know that these weapons are an important part of it, considering how early in the game we come across them. For the next one, we'll have to keep playing till we get to the west sector. In the Dum Dum factory, we'll have to take on High Andromon as part of the story. Upon his defeat, he will hand over the rusty rifle. 3 down, 2 more to go. While trying to get inside Asuka City during the lockdown, we will have to face Datamon in the control room. After we beat him, he'll give us the rusty gloves, but that's not all. Datamon will tell us that these old, rusty weapons contain secrets to ancient weapons of the digital world, and that we should find armored Digimon who know these secrets. Very cryptic and without any specific guidance. Very nicely done as always, Digimon World 3. For the final weapon, we'll have to take on another optional boss. In the south sector, we can find the Jungle Shrine. Deeper within it are the catacombs, where we can find Zambamon. After beating him, we'll get the rusty katana. And with that, we have all 5 of the old weapons. But our quest has barely begun. You see, these weapons are pretty pathetic on their own. In order to awaken their true power, there's plenty of work that needs to be done. Before we can continue with this quest, we're gonna do some prep work to make our lives easier later. First, we're gonna recruit some Digimon. In the beginning of the game, you have to choose one of 3 available packs, each containing 3 rookie Digimon. No matter which pack you choose, you can acquire the other rookie partners plus Guilmon as the game goes on. It won't be easy, but it is doable. For the purposes of our quest, we will need 5 Digimon, 3 of which are specific: Kumamon, Monmon, and Kotemon. For the other 2, we have some options. For the 4th Digimon, we'll need Guilmon, Agumon, or Guilmon. Any of them will do. And for the final Digimon, we'll need Renamon or Patamon. Either the powerful pack or the maniac pack would be ideal as a starting point, as we would only need to get 2 other rookie partners later. With the balanced pack though, we'll need to pick up 3 partners instead. I went with the maniac pack, so I'll show you how to recruit the other remaining 2 Digimon that I would need moving forward. But don't worry, if you went with the powerful or balanced pack, I'll leave the information on how to recruit every potential partner in the description of this video. Now then, I have Guilmon, Kumamon and Patamon already, which means that I need to get Monmon and Kotemon. Let's start by getting our grubby hands on the monkey. When going after a new rookie, there are often a few requirements that need to be met beforehand. For Monmon, we need the combined level of all Digimon in our party to be between level 60 and 89. Why is that a thing? I have no idea, and I doubt that the developers had any idea either. Anyway, DRI Agent Yang needs the DDNA from Armormon. As usual, the game will not really tell you where you need to go next, and I am not entirely sure how anyone was supposed to figure this stuff out on their own. But fear not, dear viewer, Editorman is here to help. We'll need to go to Dual Island from Divermon Lake in the Asuka server. No card games for us right now though, as we need to confront Armormon. Of course, he won't give us the DDNA without a fight. But if you are far enough into the game, then the DDNA fights won't be any sort of obstacle for you. After the fight, we get the thing we were looking for. If we go back to DRI Yang, he'll add Monmon as a new usable partner for us. Great! One more Digimon to acquire before we can proceed. Kotemon's DRI agent is also in the Mobius Desert, and easier to find than DRI Yang. To find Kyukimon, we'll have to go to Suzaku City, specifically the Suzaku UG Lake. Another pretty basic battle that no one should have any problems with. Upon bringing the DDNA to DRI Ken, we'll obtain the right to use Kotemon as well. A quick note before we continue. Ideally, you should tackle this quest before you get to the point of no return in the main story. Without spoiling anything, it's preferable for you to do this as soon as you get unrestricted access to Amaterasu City. If you wait too long, and if you're too close to the end of the game, the DRI agents would already be turned into Oinkmon, meaning you won't be able to recruit any Digimon you don't have yet. Anyway, with that done, we have all the Digimon which we will need for our upcoming quest. But there is yet more work to be done before we're gonna be ready for it. It's time to do some serious shopping, and we'll need a metric ton of bits to get everything we're gonna need. If you're short on bits before grinding for it, it may be a good idea to go and defeat the handsome Black King Numemon, as you'll get the bit adapter as a reward for winning. If you need any help with that, check out my Secret Bosses of Digimon World 3 video. The bit adapter will increase the amount of bits that you'll earn after fights, as long as you use a Digimon equipped with it. Anyway, before continuing, make sure you have 335,000 bits. That might sound like a hefty amount, but you'll need every last bit of it. Once you're ready, it's time to head over to the Mirage Tower in the Amaterasu server. Now, we need to buy the following weapons: Onimaru, Kaiser Fist, Cluster Cannon, Kakara, and Saber Fang. And this should set you back about 75,000 bits. After that, we're heading to the nearby Baihu City. Again, we're gonna do some shopping at the armory. Similar to what we did before, we're gonna buy the following weapons here: Tenjin Maru, Tempest Arm, Laser Cannon, Crystal Rod, and the Venom Fang. The total for all this should be 110,000 bits. And we're not done just yet. For now, we're gonna go to the armory in Amaterasu City. Here, we'll be buying Fujin Blade, Raijin Fist, Suijin Cannon, Millennium, and Belial Fang. And this time, the total is gonna be 150,000. And with that, we've spent 335,000 bits overall. Yay! We are almost ready to begin the quest to awaken the ancient legendary weapons. Let me explain how it's gonna work. The weapons need to be awakened one at a time and must be done in order. Each weapon is associated with a Digimon, and you'll need that Digimon in your party while trying to awaken their associated weapon. And well, there is one more teeny tiny thing. The associated Digimon must be level 45 or higher before you can even begin the quest to awaken the weapon. That probably sounds quite daunting, and it is. I will not sugarcoat this for you. This will require an insane amount of grinding, as you will need to get 5 different rookie Digimon to level 45. One accessory that can certainly help is the EXP adapter, which can be acquired from the Dark Master in Amaterasu Dark Dungeon. It should cut down the amount of time you'll need to do this significantly, but you'll still be beating up wild enemies for a very long time. Assuming you survive the grind, it's time to begin our quest. We'll need to find the armored Digimon hiding in the world, which Datamon mentioned a while back, who will help us unlock the true potential of the old weapons. The first one on the list is the Old Claw, and you'll need either Guilmon, Agumon, or Vmon in the party for this one. Depending on which of the 3 Digimon you have in the party, the locations of the armor Digimon will be different. As I have Guilmon, I'll have to go to the Amaterasu Shell Beach, where Shardramon is hanging out. This logical bad guy will take our old claw and the saber fang we bought earlier and fuse them together to form Vanquish. Do not start celebrating just yet though. Vanquish is only the level 2 version. We have to go even further. After acquiring Vanquish, we'll need to look for Depthmon next. For Guilmon fans like myself, the location will be the seabed that connects Suzaku City and the Plug Cape in the Asuka server. We'll find Depthmon loitering around here. He'll take Vanquish and Venom Fang from us, and with a bit of underwater magic, fuse them into Destruction, the level 3 version. Only one more thing left to do. You remember the Metal Etimon and Kulon mine from earlier? With Destruction in hand, we have to make our way to him again. The exact server doesn't matter. You could go to the Kulon pit in the Asuka or Amaterasu server. Once here, the Metal Etimon will take our Destruction along with the Belial Fang and fuse them into the legendary weapon Invincible. This is the true form of the old claw. With Invincible in our possession, we can now go after the next one on the list. For this one, we'll need either Renamon or Patamon. Although I'll use Patamon myself, I strongly recommend using Renamon for this. You'll see why in a moment. For the level 2 version, we'll have to make our way to the Protocol Ruins in Amaterasu. In the place where we found Baronmon a long time ago during the main game, we'll find Ponchomon. He'll fuse the old wand and Kakara into the level 2 weapon Twinkle. The fusing process apparently takes a major toll on Ponchomon's mind, as he immediately goes into some kind of identity crisis afterwards. I guess we should leave him alone. Now for the level 3 weapon. Things get a little weird if you have Patamon as your partner for this, like me. If you make your way to the Kulon mine in Amaterasu, you can kinda see the armor Digimon you need to talk to. But no matter what you do, there doesn't appear to be any way to actually reach him. So what's going on here? Is there an invisible ladder or something? No. The way to reach him is way more disturbing. You actually have to make your way all the way to the south sector in Amaterasu and go to the jungle grave. Here, behind these trees, you'll find a hole you can jump into with the help of Digimon. This hole will take you to the place where you need to go to find the Digimon you need to talk to, Kongomon. Now, I gotta say, none of these locations make any real sense, but my goodness, I was personally offended by this one. No other armor Digimon is in a place as convoluted to get to as this. Anyway, Kongomon will take our Twinkle along with the Crystal Rod, do a bit of the Shaka Shaka, and then combine them into Immaculate, the level 3 weapon. And now, we'll make our way back to Metal Etimon, who'll fuse the Immaculate and Millennium into the ultimate weapon eternally. Like the Invincible, you can only get one of these, while there are a couple of Digimon who can equip it. So if you want to use both Renamon and Patamon in your party, you'll have to choose which one will get to equip it. It's time to bring Kumamon into your party, and make sure you get to level 45 before continuing. After you're done, head on over to the catacombs of Amaterasu, where Zambamon likes to hang out. Here we can find Nohemon, who is not a scarecrow. He'll fuse Rusty Gloves and Kaiser Fist into Zodiac, which is a pretty epic name if I may say so. With this Zodiac in hand, we'll have to backtrack all the way to Central Park near Asuka City. There is a spot here where we can call Submarimon. In the seabed, we'll keep heading to the left until we run into Seihomon. They'll combine our Zodiac with Tempest Arm in order to create Prominence. As we've done before, we'll head back to Metal Etimon next, who'll fuse Prominence with Raijin Fist to create the Kumamon exclusive ultimate weapon, Supernova. 2 more to go. Next, we're gonna take out Monmon from Digital Purgatory and put him in our party. After getting him to level 45, we're gonna head to the Amaterasu version of Suzaku Yuji Lake. Shurimon, the ninja Digimon, is waiting for us here. And they'll combine the Rusty Rifle with Cluster Cannon to form... the Cluster Cannon? Huh? Well, I'm sure there has been some brain damage here, as the upgraded weapon should be called Justice. Shurimon here probably took too many ninja stars to the head or something. Our next destination is the Amaterasu Mobius Desert. Here, we'll find Sagitarimon, who is quite full of himself to be honest. And while he is also unable to pronounce the name of Justice correctly, he will put it together with Laser Cannon to form Judgment. And now, as always, we'll go see our friend Metal Etimon. who fuses judgment with Suijin Cannon to give life to the Mon exclusive ultimate weapon, Punishment. Another very cool name. And that leaves one last weapon to go. We'll need Patamon in the party for this one. We'll take the dock near the Amaterasu version of Suzaku City in the south sector. In the seabed, we'll take the left path, which will lead to a strange, forgotten part of the Ether Jungle. Kabukimon is the one we gotta talk to here, who will combine the rusty katana with Onimaru to form Kotetsu. Now we gotta go all the way to the sewers in the Amaterasu Dum Dum Factory. Close to where our best friend Black King Numemon is chilling, we'll find the secret room. Yashamon here will take the Tenjin Maru and fuse it with Kotetsu to create Masamune. Huh, the name kinda reminds me of someone. One final time, we'll make our way to Metal Etimon, who will turn this Masamune into something more. The ultimate sword, Muramasa. Finally, we've done it! We've acquired all 5 of the legendary ancient weapons. Metal Etimon acknowledges that he is no longer capable of helping us anymore. So now that we have all these nifty weapons, you may be wondering, how strong are they exactly? Well, to be honest, they aren't that incredible. The second best weapons for each Digimon partner aren't that bad. Sure, the ultimate weapons give more stats, but the differences aren't that massive. If your goal is to beat Galacticmon, the final boss of this game, you absolutely do not need to mess around with any of these weapons. So was all this a colossal waste of time? No, it was not. You see, these weapons, their in-battle effectiveness isn't the only reason for their existence. While you do not need them for Galacticmon, these ancient weapons are needed to unlock the path leading to the secret, true final boss of Digimon World 3. Alright, let me explain. As you may be aware, Digimon World 3 has 2 versions, essentially. While the US version ends with the battle against Galacticmon, the PAL version called Digimon World 2003 does not. After the fight, we see Junior, the main character, coming back to Digimon Online after some time has passed. While there's plenty you can do here in the post-game, there are not a lot of places for you to see, as you're restricted to the east and central sectors. The underground pathways and seabeds have been greatly expanded and contain a lot of cool things, but we're here to talk about something very specific. If you go to Qinlong City, you'll find a new leader here. He won't battle you unless you have the 5 epic items. Those are the ancient weapons we spent all this time chasing. You see, the story of Digimon World 3 initially was about trying to defeat the leaders of the different cities, taking their badges and trying to become the best tamer, like no one ever was. There is another franchise you all might be familiar with, which has often done stuff like this in their games. Now, that storyline got derailed by the whole AOA situation, but now that that whole thing is taken care of, we can now go back to try and become the best tamer in the world again. To do that, we must defeat the real leaders of the Amaterasu cities, which we never did in the main game. As a side note, if you had not acquired the ancient weapons before beating Galacticmon, you could do so now, with a few key changes. The major one is pretty simple. While you only had to train 5 Digimon to level 45 in order to get all the ancient weapons, you now have to acquire and train all 8 partners to level 45 before you can even begin the quest. Isn't that absolutely ridiculous? I agree, which is why you should get all the weapons before the post-game, like I showed you how. Since we already have our epic weapons, we are free to take on the leaders, although they won't be easy, I'll tell you that. These post-game boss fights are hard, so we gotta go in prepared. If you want to grind for the very best Digimon and walk all over the upcoming fights, then you can try and aim for Imperial Dramon Paladin mode, Beelzemon, Diaboromon, Omnimon, and Grand Kowagamon. Those are the strongest Digimon in the entire game, and would likely annihilate anything that dares to stand in their way. And of course, there's always the old reliable of Digimon World 3, the Counter Crest. While it isn't as broken in the PAL version of the game as it was in the US version, it is still pretty busted. But assuming you don't want to spend a ton of time grinding, or if you would actually like to embrace the challenge in a more meaningful way, then we can go another way. In terms of team composition, I would recommend Renamon, as she gets access to powerful thunder and ice type attacks early on with Sakuyamon, which will prove to be very useful. Sakuyamon might be really flimsy, but she can hit really hard given the right circumstances. Another Digimon to consider would be Guilmon, specifically as Gallantmon. Gallantmon not only requires the least amount of effort on your part to get for Guilmon, he can also serve as a valuable support Digimon for the team. His finisher, Final Purification, can often whiff entirely, but it can change the tide of battle on its own when timed right. The final option is up to you, really. I brought in Kumamon for the giggles. I never got around to recruiting Agumon before beating Galacticmon, and I did not want to bother with it in the post-game. If you do have Agumon, then War Greymon and his fire-type attacks will prove to be quite valuable in certain fights ahead. Stat-wise, try to have as high a speed stat as possible. That will help you the most overall. Having certain accessories, like the Dance Ring for better evasion, or the Surge Crest to potentially get in some extra critical hits would help too. Other than that, make sure you're stocked up on Super, Ultra, and Max charges, along with a few life discs as well. In addition, keep a couple of energy discs in your inventory, as they remove negative status effects. Personally, I like to keep item usage to a minimum when I can, to keep things as hard as possible, which would force me to think outside the box and try different things. It's pretty fun for me, but you don't have to do that. Oh, and if any battles require specific strategies or gear, I'll let you know during said battles. Now then, after you get your Digimon ready for the toughest fights that Digimon World 3 has to offer, head towards the Shinron leader and talk to him. Upon seeing the ancient weapons in your possession, he'll be more than happy to fight you. He starts off with the iconic Pheromon. We only ever meet Pheromon right at the beginning of the game, and nowhere else except here, so it's kinda cool to see him after so long. While Pheromon's base stats have gotten a massive boost, his gameplay style remains the same as before, as he can either use a normal attack or the more dangerous Necro Mist. While poison isn't as nasty as it was in the beginning of the game, it probably is still a good idea to use an energy disc to remove the poison altogether when needed. While Pheromon's base stats did get a lot scarier, his elemental tolerances, strangely, remain the same as they were during our first encounter with him. Definitely an oversight, I believe, but you can utilize his debilitating weakness to fire-type attacks and grill him with your best flaming moves. Even if you don't have access to any hot attacks, equipping a strong firepower accessory and using basic attacks would be pretty effective too. Pheromon here is an imposing figure with plenty of HP, which is something that will be true for all the boss fights we'll be facing in the post-game. But as long as you handle the poison and chip away at Pheromon's HP diligently, you should take him out without too many problems. Next up is another blast from the past, in Master Tyrannomon. Similar to Pheromon, he got a big boost in stats but kept the same old elemental tolerances. It would be a good idea to bring in a magic attacker, who could take advantage of Master Tyrannomon's weakness to ice. But if your Digimon's defense is on the low side, the old claws of our master here will hurt quite a bit. Still, considering his defense is higher than his spirit or wisdom, magic would be the way to go. Master Fire, the iconic special attack of Master Tyrannomon, makes a comeback as well. But it really isn't much of a threat unless your own Digimon are severely weak to fire. The strategy is quite simple. Keep attacking with cool moves, literally, until the master falls down one final time. The leader is not beaten yet though, as he brings out the monster who may still be hiding on the 99th floor of Terra Domain, Chimeramon. Maybe that's where the leader found it? Some of the numbers here are absolutely bonkers. Look at that defense and wisdom. Chimeramon is scary, and you have to be careful here. It uses Dark Elemental often, but if you brought in a magic attacker from Master Tyrannomon, then your Digimon should have a high spirit and wisdom stat, which should lighten the blow from the move. It may be a good idea to equip Dark Rings on your Digimon for this battle, just for Chimeramon. Due to its absurd wisdom stat though, Chimeramon has a very high chance to just evade magic attacks. While they are the best ways to hurt it, considering it has nearly 1300 defense, it may not be easy to get the attacks through. This beast has one more trick up its sleeve, as its normal attack can make your Digimon fall asleep. This status will go away on its own, but it'll take time. I tried switching to Gallantmon to try and increase the speed of my entire team, but Chimeramon took that personally and destroyed my Gallantmon with one move. My Royal Knight has always had trouble with magic attacks, so it wasn't a big shock for me. It was time for Marsmon to shine, as Sakuyamon was still asleep. Marsmon's attacks proved to be little more than a minor inconvenience for Chimeramon, unfortunately. But Marsmon showed that he, too, had something to offer by evading Chimeramon's attacks. For whatever reason, Chimeramon did not use Dark Elemental for a while, even though it is supposed to have a 50% chance to use it every turn. That was a good thing for me, as my Marsmon here would not have taken that well. Still, he kept on dodging Chimeramon until Renamon woke up, and did a decent chunk of damage during that time as well. I brought in Sakuyamon again, who was able to do more damage, but the difference wasn't significant. Still, thankfully, now Chimeramon decided to go with Dark Elemental practically every turn, which Sakuyamon could handle well enough. This is a tough opponent and has to be dealt with carefully, no doubt about that. By the time the sleep effect landed again on Sakuyamon, the damage had already been done. So I tagged in Marsmon to finish things off and sent Chimeramon back to Terra Domain, probably. We don't get anything after the battle, besides some words of encouragement. Maybe that's all we need. Next, we're gonna head to Tyranno Valley, where the Jean Wu leader is waiting. He too sees the ultimate weapons and decides that we are worthy. He starts off with the Skull Mammothmon. Not a particularly challenging foe, this one, considering what we just had to go through. It has no special attacks, and if your speed is high enough, you'll be able to avoid the normal attacks without any problems. And Skull Mammothmon is very weak to wind, so use that to your advantage to knock it out quickly. After that, Varumanzaimon is next. While it has insanely high strength, its special move, Hard Break Attack, is a magic-based one. So Varumanzaimon has the same problem as Vargrowlmon and Seraphimon in this game, because their unique attacks are not properly utilized. This move does decrease your Digimon's strength though, but it's no big deal. I actually got into a hilarious situation here, as I kept trying to use Final Purification, which is a counter, but Gallantmon would always evade the incoming attack when I did. And every time I didn't use it, Gallantmon would happily allow the incoming attack to go through. How fun! Regardless, Varumanzaimon isn't really a major threat. And the final Digimon here is Vamon, who has a stupid amount of HP, the most we've seen so far, even counting Galacticmon. But HP is all that Vamon has going for it, as the stats leave much to be desired. If you have Sakuyamon like I do, using Thunder-type attacks would decimate Vamon very quickly. It can barely offer anything in the name of offense, as Hard Rain is a pretty pitiful magic-type attack. Cook Vamon with moves like Lightning Bolt, and it will stop moving soon enough. Another leader taken down. That leaves 2. Time to head to the Protocol Ruins, where we will find the Juchu Air leader. Time for battle number 3. He starts off with the Red Cherrymon. The stats aren't all that epic, and it has some notable weaknesses to fire and machine type attacks. Its normal attack can drain health. That is, if it ever hits. High speed should allow you to evade whatever Cherrymon throws your way. If you do have Gallantmon, I'd recommend starting with him. While Cherrymon is a pushover, use this opportunity to use Speed Up, or ideally Mega Boost, which will increase the speed of your whole team. It's important for the other Digimon coming up after this one. Once Cherrymon goes down, the next Digimon will be Persiamon. You may remember this one from the main story, where it tends to be a real pain. But if you followed my instructions, you should be impervious to Persiamon's quadruple attack. Persiamon does have a couple of special moves in Helter Skelter and Vampire Jewel. The former will de-digivolve your Digimon to the rookie level, while the latter will drain some of your Digimon's MP. Neither move should be a major problem. Persiamon's weakness to fire should be taken advantage of, which will make this a very quick fight. Again, if you don't have fire-type attacks, use a firepower accessory to make the most of this weakness. The final Digimon here is Zambamon, our old friend. No obvious weaknesses here, although I prefer physical moves because Zambamon is very wise, and will be able to evade magic-type attacks frequently. Zambamon does have access to the Hunting Knife, which can one-shot your Digimon if the attack hits, and the effect goes off. But if your Digimon have the speed, they won't have too many issues with Zambamon, as the Hunting Knife is a physical move, like his normal attack. I ended up blasting to Imperial Dramon in this fight, which led to Mega Crusher blasting a hole straight through Zambamon, making this a relatively uneventful battle. GG Zambamon, once again. And with that, one leader remains. Further into the Protocol Ruins, Baihu leader awaits. This fight though is very disappointing. All 3 of Baihu leader's Digimon are incredibly weak to thunder moves, and none of them have a lot of HP to soak up damage. Terrible combination really. Sakuyamon absolutely ran through her Digimon, almost as if I was doing a speedrun. Griffinmon went down before I knew what happened. After that, out came Metal Seadramon. who too was electrified within no time. And finally, High Andromon arrived. Like Zambamon, it has access to a one-shot move in the Atomic Ray, but Sakuyamon did not give it a chance to try anything funny like that, as it was fried ultra fast. 2 lightning strikes was all it took to put High Andromon out of commission for good. And with that, we have beaten every leader and have proven ourselves worthy in every possible way. And now, only one opponent remains. It is time for us to face the toughest, most brutal challenge that Digimon World 3 has to offer. Our destination is the arena, which was unavailable throughout the main game. With the ancient weapons in hand, and with every leader beaten, we have earned the right to step into the arena. And our opponent, the true final boss of Digimon World 3, is none other than the Lucky Mouse himself. The genius hacker, who was an important character during the story, is the strongest tamer in the game, besides us, I mean. In order to decide who will stand alone as the very best like no one ever was, there is only one thing left for us to do. We've got a unique stage for the final battle, and a unique theme to go with it. This atmosphere. Take a moment to breathe it in. Very few people who've played this game have ever gotten to see this. Kurt starts with a Datamon, whose normal attack can hit up to 4 times, and that can hurt quite a lot. It has high speed itself, so it would be quite tough to avoid everything it throws your way. Gallantmon's final purification counter can throw a significant chunk of damage right back at it, which could be something to rely on here, if you find that your other moves aren't cutting it. Boosting speed, again, is quite essential in this battle. All 3 of Kurt's Digimon are nasty and fast, and you really don't want them getting multiple turns in a row. But Datamon is not a one-trick pony, as it can sustain itself in battle through the use of auto-recover. It'll recover some HP every turn, after auto-recover goes off. Due to the fact that Datamon has a lot of HP, it'll end up recovering somewhere between 300 and 600 HP every turn. You might find that auto-recover will end up undoing all of your good work. You might be thinking, why aren't you exploiting the obvious thunder weakness that Datamon has? Well, I've actually tried this battle a few times, and I did try to utilize Sakuyamon, but it didn't really work out. While Lightning Bolt does do plenty of damage, Sakuyamon has a very difficult time actually taking any hits from Datamon. In addition, Datamon has an enormous amount of wisdom, which makes it very difficult to land any magic attacks at all. So I decided to go with Gallantmon, who had a better shot of getting the job done. While auto-recover is an annoying problem, the silver lining here is that it eventually runs out and stops working completely. At that point, Datamon can no longer heal itself and can be slowly taken out. But this battle has only just begun, as Bulbmon comes out next. Bulbmon was only seen briefly during the story, but each time it did show up, it made quite an impact. Yet another Digimon with a weakness to thunder, and I did decide to tag in Sakuyamon for this one. Lightning Bolt deals a nice amount of damage, and for a moment, I thought this would be rather straightforward. It's got another trick up its sleeve in Speed Up, which it will use often. Bulbmon is already quite fast, and Speed Up makes it quite easy for it to avoid physical attacks. Not that they would do a lot of damage anyway, considering how high Bulbmon's defense is. Bulbmon can't be underestimated. It hits hard and is hard to hit in return, especially if it uses Speed Up a couple of times. Even magic is not guaranteed to land. A high water tolerance may be quite helpful here, but more than anything, you have to stay determined. If you keep pushing, eventually Bulbmon will fall down. And the final, strongest enemy Digimon that this game has to offer is the almighty Armageddimon. Take a good look at those stats. This Armageddimon would eat Galacticmon for breakfast by itself. It is within the game's data at level 99. But beyond the numbers, Armageddimon isn't as strong as it should be in my opinion. The poor thing doesn't have anything other than a normal attack, which only hits once. I don't get it. They did Armageddimon dirty for no reason. But while it doesn't have any cool moves, it could still make life quite difficult for you. Simply because it is super fast and it will hit like a truck. My max speed Guilmon, even after multiple speed boosting moves, still couldn't get 2 turns in a row or evade Armageddon's attacks easily. Fire moves will be your go-to moves again here. If you've got some pretty strong fire type attacks, this could be a pretty quick fight. But besides that, Armageddon has a ludicrous amount of HP, so this could take a while no matter what. But hang in there, keep attacking, keep healing when you need to, and keep moving forward. This is the final battle, so give it everything you've got, no holding back. Eventually, the great, the unstoppable Armageddon will fall as well. It is over. We've beaten the secret final boss of Digimon World 3 and have become the strongest, the most powerful Digimon tamer in the world. Kurt congratulates us on a hard-earned and deserved victory. He mentions that Digimon Online will soon be completely reinstated, and many tamers from all over the world will be trying to take our title from us. I do hope that Digimon World 3 gets a proper remake one day, even if it's a fan-made one. It's unlikely, I know, but one can dream, right? Let me keep dreaming. There aren't any other battles to do after this, although there is some other fun post-game stuff you could do with the card game. Maybe I'll cover that at some point. But what better way to end things, after all we've been through, than to sit down and have a card fight with the old guy, who was our very first opponent of this game. A nice way to wrap things up, I think. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so on my Patreon, where I've got exclusive content. Or you could buy some Pepsi for me. One can never have enough Pepsi, am I right? And now, time for a shout out from our amazing patrons. Thank you Chaos Untold, Hero Emblem, Spider President, Blake CN1, Vanilla, Yog and Savasti Matus for your continued support. And here is a special shout out to McTivil, an amazing friend of the channel. Your friendship makes nerdhood a better place. Thank you, McTivil, my friend. And now, for an ultra strong shout out to the awesome, incredible people who keep the digital world safe and sound. A huge thank you to Shamine, the Postman, Derpin Goose, and the newest member of this elite group of heroes, Marasmus32, for your support. You are all truly the best, like no one ever was. Well then, after all that, there's not much else to do in the post-game besides relaxing and playing card games with everyone. I've heard that there's a secret, legendary duelist somewhere around here. I'll have to take my Numemon deck and fight them soon. Perhaps I should also find all the legendary cards sometime. Maybe you're wondering, are there any other noteworthy secrets or lost content that never saw the light of day, hiding on the Digimon World 3 disc? You know what? Maybe I'll take a look soon. Until then, take care, drink your Pepsi, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye! Get me the ultra training result for once. You have the training book, read! The training book doesn't work! Scammed! Scam training book? No, what the What is this? Oh my god! Oh no! My TP! Give it back! The toilet paper!